Brothers and sisters in the Dhamma, may you all be well, happy, and peaceful. I'm going to do a presentation on a Dhamma topic titled Towards Progress in Dhamma Practice. Now, this is a very important Dhamma topic where we can learn very important things in the Dhamma. Now, in one of the suttas in the Anguttara Nikaya, 4.85, titled Tamonata Sutta in the Anguttara Nikaya, the Buddha talked about 4 types of people. The first type is people who go from darkness to darkness. The second type is people going from darkness to light. The third type is people going from light to darkness. And finally, the fourth type, light to light. Now, what it means is the first type, people who are born in this world, are in terrible conditions, poverty, living conditions, very poor, and so on, due to a past bad karma. And unfortunately, they still continue doing the unwholesome deeds and generating bad karma. So future lives, they also will be reborn into woeful states. So that is darkness to darkness. Now, darkness to light would refer to those people who are born this life unfortunate state, poverty, poor living conditions, or maybe physical handicaps and so on, but they encounter the Dhamma and do many good wholesome things and move along the Dhamma path, and they will be getting good rebirth. So that's the second type. And then the third type, light to darkness. They are so fortunate to be reborn here in a very fortunate state with wealth, with health, and then with, a lot of comfort. But luckily, they still are, unfortunately, because it's light to darkness. Unfortunately, they use up the blessings and then do unwholesome things. So they will exhaust their blessings. So a time will come when they will face with dukkha and get rebirth into the woeful states. That is what is meant by light to darkness. And then the fourth one is the best. That is light to light. They are in this world living very peacefully, happily, good karma, good living conditions, good health. And then they continue doing all the good things in Dhamma, and their next life also will be very good. So that is light to light. So we have to be careful that we are fortunate now at being born as human beings. We must make sure that we move from light to light if we are really in a very good position, or if we are in unfortunate state, not wealthy, poverty, or maybe health problems and so on. So that will be darkness, but we have to make sure that we move into light, which means that we have to do the good deeds to ensure that we will have good rebirth. So this particular presentation will address this issue to make sure that we are progressing in Dhamma practice and not going backwards. It will be very dangerous, isn't it? This is the issue. And we have a PowerPoint where the texts are in English and Chinese, but the narration, explanation, and comments will be in English. So, as usual, we will launch the PowerPoint. But before that, let me check the setup. Okay, the setup is all right. So now let us launch the PowerPoint. You can now see the cover slide towards progress in Dhamma practice. Now, of course, the most important Dhamma practice is to follow the Noble Eightfold Path, as represented here by the Dhamma wheel, the Dhammacakka wheel. And you see this lotus also, very symbolic. It is the Buddhist flower, and you see it blooms, and then you see a little Buddha to show you that now you are on the path to enlightenment, development of the mind. So this cover slide has this meaning. Now let us go on, because there are, I think, 12 suggested methods you have to be careful in order not to fall backwards or Dhamma decline. Now let us look at the first one. We have to value time. You see, time passes, and then every day we are nearer to our death. We are nearer to the graveyard, or maybe the crematorium. So when we reflect on this, we know we must make good use of the time. There should be a spiritual urgency. So you can see here, time passes us by so very quickly. Reflect on the Dhamma consistently, and we need to make good use of the time so that we won't regret later on when we are dying, right? Because as Benjamin Franklin said, lost time is never found again, right? So it's a very precious thing, this time. So how well do we use this time? You find many of us very blessed with enough money, material comforts and possessions, but we are using our blessings all along. And if we don't do the good things to replenish the good karma, then the time may come where you have exhausted your blessings. And time cannot be got back once it is past, you see. So that's the first thing we have to reflect upon, to value time, so that we will not slacken and regret later on that we did not practice Dhamma sufficiently well, or enough of Dhamma practice to get the blessings. So this is the first of the 12 points. Now let us look at the second one. Now, what is this second one? Sacrifice sensual pursuits. Yes. You see, we are very fortunate. We have so many blessings, but we must not fall into Mara's traps, of endlessly pursuing the sensual delights of what we see, what we hear, what we smell, what we taste, and then also what we touch. So all these worldly things, if we indulge in this without knowing the dangers, you can get addicted, and you spend so much time on these things. I'm not saying we should not spend some time. We are worldlings, not monks or nuns. So there will be some enjoyment, but the point is we must be careful not to fall into the worldly trap. The worldly trap, because transitory, impermanent sense delights will bring dukkha. All the material things that you enjoy will not last and permanent, isn't it? And they will fall apart. So it's the spiritual happiness, the spiritual wealth that will follow you from life to life. So to make sure that you have Dhamma progress, we must step up the spiritual things. And for Buddhists, of course, it is the Noble Eightfold Path of practicing Sila, Samadhi, Panya. Morality, concentration, wisdom, which is walking the Noble Eightfold Path. So we must sacrifice some of the worldly things that are very attractive, and then utilize some time for the Dhamma practice. That is a wise man advice. In the Dhammapada is also mentioned, right, that the wise people will sacrifice lesser happiness for the greater happiness. That will be the spiritual happiness. And that one will follow you from life to life, unlike the temporary worldly pleasures. Now this will show you clearly, cut down all those things that titillate the senses, too much of the entertainment and all those stuff lah. And then to do more that involves spiritual, well, like listening to Dhamma talks, right? Meditation, chanting, and so on. And this great philosopher, Arthur Schopenhauer, said, it is a clear gain to sacrifice pleasure in order to avoid pain. Yes, the more you indulge in the senses, then you see they can lead you to more dukkha. Especially when you do in foolish ways, right? Eating the wrong type of food, and then, abusing the body by using drugs, alcohol, and so on. So you can see there is this danger. Whereas the spiritual practice will lead you to the true peace and happiness. So that is the second reminder, so that you will not fall backwards in terms of Dhamma practice. You won't have what we call a decline in your Dhamma practice. So that is the second point. Now let us look at the third one. Put in great effort. Yes. In fact, for spiritual practice, in fact, for all things, even worldly success, one, if not the most important factor, is diligence. I've heard Dhamma talks and understand it might also be mentioned in the scriptures that the most important thing and the quality to have success and progress is diligence. We have to put in the hard work and not just praying to the Almighty or the Supreme God to get all the blessings and book a place in heaven. It's not like that. It's your diligent practice in the spiritual part. And it's mentioned here, you see, diligence is needed to progress spiritually. We have to cultivate ardently, consistently. It has to be consistent. You cannot be just diligent for 1 week and then after that overcome by Mara force of mental laziness for months, isn't it? Just like meditation, you practice for 1 week and then you rest for 6 months. Then eventually you give up. So you will be having a decline in the Dhamma practice. So there won't be any progress. And once the blessings are used up, you're heading for trouble, right? So the images show this quite clearly. To sum up, here you see spending so much time watching all the entertainment things. Of course, we can watch some sports and so on, but some people have become a potato culture. Always morning to night just watching this. No time to do any Dhamma practice like dana, helping service, or listening to some Dhamma talks or reading. None at all. It's just all sensory pursuits, and that would not be a wise thing, right? So that is this thing. Here you see these people do spend some time in the meditation. It's all about wisdom, We are not asking you to completely give up because you are not a monastic, a monk or a nun. But many people have fallen into the worldly trap. And then the human life will be wasted. At the end of the day, you see that they have not lived a worthy life as a human being. Napoleon Hill, the motivator, has written many books and said many good quotes. He said, strength and growth come only through continuous effort and struggle. Now look at this, continuous. That means always doing it, putting in the work. And then struggle is a challenge. Like practice meditation also is a struggle. But very important is initially there may be some pain, it's bitter, but the end you get the joy and there is sweetness. But many people, they don't think about this. They just want to enjoy themselves. They want to have all the fun, the pleasure, the sweet things, starting good, ending terrible, right? Exhausted, the blessing, money also finished already. Then you sometimes will face with sicknesses and so on. So the spiritual person knows that he has to struggle. And Napoleon Hill said that this happens not only for spiritual matters, but also in our ordinary worldly matters. To succeed, you have to struggle and put in the effort is first, isn't it? So this is a very important point about diligence. Now let us look at number 4, the 4th point. Have lots of patience. Yes. Patience is required not only for spiritual practice or Dhamma practice, no, but also in our worldly affairs, in our work, our career, in the studies, and so on. If you don't have patience, you will not have the success. No pain, no gain. You have to be patient. You just cannot just do for a short while and say, yeah, very difficult, I give up already. There was this person I mentioned before, Thomas Edison, the one who invented the electric bulb. He tried hundreds of times in the experiments, and the bulb did not light up. So many people, will say give up and so on, but not him. Thomas Edison had the patience and he had the persistence, perseverance, discipline, all the good qualities. At the end, he invented the electric bulb, which we are enjoying today. So you see that our patience will achieve more than our, this one is a good point also, or more than our force. Some people, want to get things done, they use aggressive force, right? This will not work. You find you might even do more harm when you use force, like you want to teach a child, right? You have to be patient. You have to understand him. Some have no patience. So they use force, threaten the child, or use a cane to wall up the person. Can you achieve the things? No. Kindness, patience are important. So in Pali, there's this word called kanti. Kanti is the word for patience in Pali, the language of Buddhism. And we need this virtue to succeed, certainly. In the 10 paramis, or what we call the 10 perfections, the Bodhisattva developed in order to become enlightened, right? To what we call the perfections, the paramis are the perfections. You have things like morality, giving, or dana, and then wisdom, metta, many, 10 of them. And one of them is kanti, patience. If you don't have the patience, then how can you get the goal? How can you achieve the target? So, very important in Dhamma practice. Some people don't make any Dhamma progress because they give up easily. They start off meditation, then after a few weeks already, they come and tell you, never get anything. Then sometimes I will ask them, what do you want to get? You're trying to throw away things in the meditation. You say, 5, 6 weeks, still nothing. Oh, you think it's like the Maggie instant me? Our defilements from the past so strong already. Now you will have to have patience. Don't expect things, just do it. And then the time will come. Different people, different, isn't it? Because of different karma. But unfortunately, many people lack the patience. And this is one of those things that cause a person to backslide. to have Dhamma decline until eventually give up already. So you can see how important this quality is, patience. Now let us go on to the fifth point. And what is this fifth point? Now, persist, persistence, have perseverance, to persevere on. You can be inspired by the life of Siddhartha Gautama. He was a bodhisattva, right? So he had also cultivated under the previous Buddha, right? And with all the good cultivation from the past, probably he had attained first stage or second stage already. And yet he struggled, for 6 years. And under the Bodhi tree on the night of enlightenment, he made the determination that he would not get up until he got enlightenment. Have perseverance, persist on, not to give up so easily. Motivators have talked about this also. They say that that quality, most important for success, he's talking about worldly success, whether it's in the business or your career or a successful family, to overcome the problems and so on. Persistence. Great scientists or great writers or great sportsmen also must have this perseverance to go on and never give up so easily. Training is hard to win the Olympic gold, isn't it? So you have to remember, never give up so very easily. You will succeed if you persist and persevere. You will succeed. Keep at it mindfully. Of course, this picture shows it, you see? Very, very persistent, the perseverance. The duckling tries to climb up. He will go on like this until he succeeds. He doesn't give up so easily. Whereas this one with the white flag, I give up. This is wrong. This is correct. So this famous person, Samuel Johnson, right? A great literary person. I think he's written also great works. Great works are performed not by strength, but by perseverance. Some people think, I don't have the talent, I don't have enough energy, I don't have this, all the excuses, but they don't have the diligence and the perseverance. Perseverance means to go on. Right? If you fail, you still go on, persist at it until you succeed. Just as a sportsman, he doesn't win the gold in the Olympics at the first participation, but then the next one coming, let's say 4 years, then he persists. He tries on and on. You read of such great people, persistent, then you'll be successful. So persistence is the most important key for success. That is according to motivators. And in Dhamma practice, the same thing. Diligence, persistence. So you can see now, point by point, why people give up Dhamma, why people backslide, decline, and the end completely give up and then change religion also. They're looking for something faster one. No patience, no diligence, and perseverance. So now let us look at number 6. Oh, this is number 7 already. So now with number 6, we will look at it later. We'll look at number 7 now. Live a life of simplicity, number 7. So you find the great people, they live a simple life, not a luxurious, very, very comfortable, always in the, this is correct. Just now we did number, we missed number 1, number 6. So after we go back to that. Now, number 7, live a life of simplicity. You find the great people, the great spiritual people, they live very simple lives. Some people think that in order to be happy and peaceful and be successful, you must have all the luxurious goods, And then all the material possessions. You look at the big cities, right? So comfortable, wow, all the fun, the pleasures, the good food, everything. You think these people are truly peaceful and happy? And not so. You find people who, for example, live a simple life in the countryside, they have less stress, less mental problems. You find mental problems usually affect the people in the big cities or a fast type of life, isn't it? So people who pursue sensual delight so frequently, always, wanting this, wanting to eat this, from one restaurant to another restaurant, from one dress to another dress, from one shopping mall to another, you will not be able to have the true peace mentally. You get some temporary pleasures and so on. After that, you get bored, you get tired, and you want to change your to have to change again. Right? Holidays, yeah, Malaysia places so boring, Langkawi, Penang, all this. Then you want to go overseas. Then after that, you say you are looking for, go to North Pole or South Pole. Never ending. So the mind is not settled. So if people who live sophisticated lives, you find are not truly peaceful and happy. That's why you have some of the famous pop singers, as I mentioned, the film stars, those who live quite sophisticated lives, very busy lives, and so on. They are stressed. And then they get into depression. And then some commit suicide, as you know very well. So look at this fantastic Mother Teresa. What did she say? The more you have, the more you're occupied. So many things to tend to, right? And then so many things you still want. The less you have, the more free you are. And you see, who are the very happy people? The researcher at the University of Wisconsin in US once showed that the most happy people, the most happy person that research showed was this monk, He's Venerable Dr. Matthew Ricard. He has a PhD in molecular biology or something like that. Then later on, he became a monk. Now he's many, many years a monk. The most happy person. And as a monk, how many things does he have? Basic things only. Just the robe, and then the alms bowl, medicine, and then maybe a shelter, right? Maybe you stay in the cave, or some maybe stay in the temple. Not his own house, is the temple and so on. So very, very free, isn't it? So don't think that the more you have, the more happy you become. Not so. Simplicity. So remember that. You will not be able to have true peace mentally if you always chase for all the worldly pleasures, right? What you see, good dresses, big cars, houses, and then all the material possessions and the good food, all these are never ending. Then you find that you get stressed out, you get bored also, and you become more restless. Once a while, okay lah, you just go for a movie, or you're a lay person, or you buy a new dress. But I'm talking about people who overindulge already, spend so much time and money on this. Some who spend, as I mentioned before, every month probably maybe $100. Go to the hair salon to make the hair dye multicolor, and then you find when this lady comes out, then the hairstyle will be like a beehive. Luckily, the bees don't go and nest in the hair, a multicolor also, and they spend a lot of money. So this one is not a life of simplicity. You look at the monks and the nuns. Do they go to hair salon? They don't have hair even. So are they very miserable? You look at so many monks cultivated and nuns. I can see the peacefulness, the radiance, the radiant look in the face, everything. So they are peaceful. That is the true peace in the mind. So this is an important thing that will help you to progress in the Dharma. So now let us go on to the next one, which is number 8. Again, it misses. Why this time it misses? So I don't think you can go back. You can't go back. So number 8, we have missed. After we will see it. And number 6 also. So now it's number 9. And number 9 talks about dana or charity. And this is a very important practice. Dana is a great spiritual practice. It cuts the self, the ego. Then you find that you will be able to cut the suffering. The suffering, you find one of the root causes is because you have the ego. You want this, you want that for yourself. And then you say, oh, people criticize me, they blame me. All those things, right? You have that ego. So, you see, Dana is a parami, a perfection. To cultivate, a perfection to cultivate. And also in relation to this is the service also, helpfulness, charity. So you find all religions talk about this. And people who do not know this and thinking that, oh, this one is a waste of the money, what for? The fellow should go and earn their own money, all this. You find such people will not have the true peace and the happiness. And you see, if they don't at all practice charity, helpfulness, generosity, you find the Dhamma will decline. Right? The Dhamma progress, no progress. In fact, going backwards. So this particular person, Ben Carson, he was a former US Secretary of Housing. And then he retired and he became also a writer. He was also a neurosurgeon. So very, very capable, intelligent person. He did medicine also. He got degrees and things like that. So he had given a fantastic quotes. And what did he say? Happiness doesn't result from what we get, but from what we give. You see, he's talking about Dana, the joy of Dana. The more we give, the more we get actually, right? The more you get, the less you have your true peace actually. You have temporary pleasures and material happiness, but it's very profound here. So here is a picture that shows this arms round Pindapat, and even the young ones also, they go and give the monks food. I think you all are familiar with this. Again, I don't know why now it is you again 10 miss up. So now let us see number 11 now. So we have missed out 3 already. Something not very right with the setting or what. No, the setting is correct. I don't know. So reflect. We must always do Dhamma reflection. Very important to do the Dhamma reflection. And one very important thing to realize, to know, is the cause of suffering. That's a second noble truth. First noble truth is there is dukkha, right? The second noble truth, there is this cause of dukkha. The cause of dukkha is craving. And going with it is the attachment to things, to people, possessions, to views, to titles and all those things. So this will lead to dukkha. So people who do not learn this and practice to cut this, you find they cannot have Dhamma progress. In fact, there can be a decline, backsliding. So craving and attachment cause suffering. Realizing this Dhamma is an important thing. And this particular Brahmin actually, so he is actually, a religious person, you can say, long time ago already, in India. So this the Chanakya, actually he gave a very, very important Dhamma teaching, He said, one should discard attachment to be happy, correct? Because if you have attachment, there will be dukkha. Attachment is linked to the craving. You see? So it really is correct, you see? So this is the thing, right? Now, let us see how to such that it won't really... maybe you can... now this is 11. 11, okay. So now, If we move this one, will you go to 10? Yeah, we can go backwards, the 10. Just now we missed the 10. So now the 10 is live a virtuous life. That's what we missed out just now, isn't it? Now this pertains to morality and virtue. Very, very important. Virtue is the foundation, right, for our practice. You cannot progress in Dhamma if you don't lead a moral life. Like for example, you break your precepts, killing, stealing, sexual misconduct, or lying, drinking alcohol, until mabuk. All these will cause a backsliding, a decline in the Dhamma. So, one of the points that will cause you to backslide is when you keep on breaking the precepts. You see? You find, very fun. Always drink until mabuk. Or some become greedy, cheat people. Right? Now you have content and all the scams, isn't it? So this is a very dangerous thing. So living a virtuous life is a very important thing in order to progress in your Dhamma practice. So in Pali, morality is termed sila. Sila is the Pali word for morality. One who does not have sila, does not have morality, will have much dukkha. It's cause effect. People who do a lot of wrong things, they will face with the suffering. The law might catch up with them, and then they can be sentenced to jail or some even to death. That penalty, isn't it? Like smuggling drugs or first-degree murder. So you see that it's very, very important. And in time to come, you find that these people who don't follow morality, so they will also leave the religion of Buddhism, right? And then, they will continue to do that, the bad things, so they will go into the darkness. So morality is of the highest importance. This is what Albert Einstein said. Albert Einstein, one of the most famous scientists, if not the most famous of all times. And he said that we must have morality, not because to please the God. It's not like that. So you are virtuous, you have the virtues, and you have good moral values, not to please the God, to make the God happy. It is for yourself and for others. That is important. If you are not practicing morality, others can suffer, that you kill or you steal from people, or you lie or cheat people. And then you also cause harm to yourself, not only in this life, but future lives. Person that commits a lot of, unwholesome deeds, like killing, for example, or stealing, or so on, so can be reborn into suffering states. So this is a very important thing we have to realize. Now, so you find that, well, number 8 also we miss out, is it? Number 8, that number 8, we say we must practice metta. Metta, you see. So I think you all know that metta means loving kindness. Loving kindness. And this loving kindness is one of the 4 Brahma Viharas, or metta, we call the divine abodes. And there are many benefits. The Buddha taught this metta. There are actually 11 benefits. And if you practice this, you can realize the benefits, and you have confidence now in the Dhamma. So you are also making progress. Because this is one of the divine states, a godly state of the mind, a loving kindness. Metta can be translated as, best translation is loving kindness, right? Benevolence, friendliness, goodwill, all these words you use. But the best, I think, is loving kindness. This kindness is a very important thing. See, I put there, the power of metta is truly great. Metta will cut anger, ill will, and hate. And you know, this anger or ill will and hate, they are very dangerous mental poisons that can make you suffer in terms of your physical health as well as your mental health. Some you find get heart attack, stroke, because the anger is so great, big, high temper. And then also your mind affected. When you're very angry or hateful, you find it difficult for you to sleep in peace. You are not really happy. You are angry with this thing, this person, that person. You hate this person. You hate this situation. Is that a peaceful state? It's not. So one of the ways to get rid of this is to practice kindness and metta, right? And then you slowly see the change. Less anger already, less ill will. Like Dalai Lama, he always emphasizes this. Be kind whenever possible. And it is always possible. You can see his life, being kind even to the ordinary sweeper, the ordinary so-called low-class people. No, but to him, it's not like that. He's a human being. And Dalai Lama shows great kindness to this, all people, even animals also. So remember the importance of metta. So just now we missed this one. And also we missed number 6, I think. Let's maybe look and see. Number 6. So number 6 is be inspired by great people. When you can see there are great spiritual people. I'm not talking about, actually people who are great, usually we think of them as doing good things that benefit people, right? Not the criminals, all these are great, or those that do all the wrong things. So you think of, I'm here mostly thinking of the great people in terms of religions. Like Jesus Christ was a great person, Buddha, Mother Teresa, Confucius, Lao Tzu, all these people, great people. And if you read their lives, you find, wow, they have done so much good and written so many fantastic good things that will help human beings. So you get inspired. Now for Buddhists, of course, they get the greatest inspiration you can get will be from the Buddha. You see that in the scriptures, the Buddha has given so much of a fantastic wealth, right? So this way, then you will pursue the Dhamma. And because you are inspired, you know there are the great things that can be done that will contribute to your happiness and peace in the mind. So you'll be inspired. Many people don't even know the life of the Buddha. And then only the scriptures, how many books, right? In the Pali Canon, the Nikayas alone, you have long discourses, middle length discourses, and then the gradual sayings, right? And then the kindred, Dhammapada is in the Kundaka, right? So many of those books where the Buddha gave so many fantastic teachings and quotations or sayings. This person, Helen Keller, she was blind, she was deaf, she was dumb, right? Because of the sickness at a very, very early age. And yet, she, despite all the handicaps and so on, she rose out to be a famous writer. She went to university, a great motivator. Imagine that, right? So, and then what did she say? She had even written books. The best and most beautiful things in the world cannot be seen or even touched. They must be felt with the heart. He's talking about very important spiritual qualities, like, for example, love, kindness. You feel the love and kindness of another person, or his concern, or the compassion. Right? Sometimes you just see external things, and maybe not genuine, pura-pura only, isn't it? So you think, the most beautiful thing maybe is that fantastic building, Twin Towers in Malaysia, or maybe Taj Mahal or whatever. But actually, she says that it cannot be touched or seen. It is the kindness, all right, the love. And this will create that type of fantastic feelings in the heart that gives you the peace of the mind and heart and happiness. So we can learn from people of high spirituality. Practice their saintly qualities ardently, with passion. That means when you look at these great spiritual people, they have many fantastic qualities in it, like kindness, wisdom, love, compassion, and then peace of mind, calmness. All those qualities you learn from these great spiritual people. Of course, the greatest you learn is from the Buddha, Buddhism, but there are many others also we can learn from. So then you find that you will go on the spiritual path. You want to give up the religion like this because you have found something really precious that can follow you from life to life. So in other words, now number 6, about the inspiration of the people, we have done already. Number 5, just now we thought about the perseverance, also done. Number 7, the simplicity, we have finished, isn't it? And then also now we have done the ones we miss out lah. And then also metta, metta, loving kindness. And then number 9 we did was charity. Remember, I told you about the importance of dana, number 9. And number 10 also we already finished, which means that we were talking about morality, virtuous life that we have to lead. And that is morality. So, and also we did number 11, about reflection, that in Dhamma practice, we must always reflect on the teachings so that they will go into our hearts and the minds. And this is a very important thing. And in relation to number 11, the point 11, we talk about the attachment and the craving, isn't it? The attachment and the craving can cause a lot of suffering. The root cause of suffering is the craving and the attachment. We also mentioned that already. So which means now we are left with number 12. So we have covered the ones we missed also because of this computer technical problem. Now you see, it always goes by Excel one step ahead. I don't know why. So we still number 8. Oh, maybe you got to just move here like that. All right. So number 9, we have done also, remember, Dana, charity. And then I talk about this person, a neurosurgeon, Ben Carson. He says that happiness doesn't result from what we get, but what we give. Now let us. This one also we already touched on morality, remember? And I said morality is sila. Sila, that is an important point. I told you that morality is a foundation for Dhamma practice. And actually, you find the whole Dhamma practice, most important is actually the Noble Eightfold Path. To walk the Noble Eightfold Path, which can be summed up with 3 words actually. Sila, Samadhi, Panya. Or in Mandarin, they would call it Jie Ding Hui. Jie means to follow your 你的无戒, 你的道德啦. And then Jie Ding. Ding actually is the concentration, right? The mind is still, to train the mind. Jie is actually this one, the morality, number 10. And then Ding, and then the last one is the wisdom. The wisdom is very important, to have the wisdom so that you can see things as they truly are, and you will walk the right path. And once you have wisdom arising, you find, wow, things change already. You can think better, you make the right decisions, and then you can brace, or you can face, with many challenges, and your mind more peaceful and not karang kabut or stress up everything because of the wisdom. So when you have these things, then there can be progress in Dhamma practice. So now we come to the next one, which is number 11. Number 11 also we mentioned about the attachment to things, to people, to possessions, to titles, to power, to your views. So people cling on to those things. So anything you find that is against it, that the fellow will suffer. The fellow cannot tahan, will get angry, and so on. And then you find that this attachment to greed is very dangerous, as you know. People are so greedy, and then they become corrupted, swindle people, cheat people of the money. Like now you have scandals in Malaysia, financial scandals. So there's the craving and attachment for these worldly things. This will bring you to suffering if you have that. So when the people are along this line, definitely how can they have Dhamma progress? So you have to be very careful about this. So when you realize this important thing, then you know that we must cut this mental poison. The 3 mental poisons are actually. So if you let the mental poisons grow and grow, then definitely you cannot have any Dhamma progress. In fact, the evil forces, Mara forces will conquer you already. So you become so greedy, you won't be, well, you say you want to go and meditate. You want to go and do dana. You'll be more concerned about cheating people, earning more money, or becoming famous. You'll be more concerned. Is it so? It's a Dhamma decline. That means going backwards. Downfall. A downfall. As in the Buddhist scriptures, there's one sutta in one of the Buddhist scriptures, the Sutta Nipata, and it is the Parabhava Sutta. The Buddha talk about what things, I think 12 things that cause a person to have downfall. No, that means to go backwards. No, they fall off from the Dhamma already. Eventually, they will. It's actually into darkness already. It's either from the light to the darkness or darkness to darkness type of people already. So it's very dangerous, right? So in the scriptures, you have that about people falling into darkness. And then you find later on in life, then you regret, I've done so many bad things. I should have done this. I should not have done those things. But then those regret, remorse are already too late already. So that's why this particular presentation is important, because it talks about various ways where we can make sure our Dhamma is there and progress and won't go backwards. So now let's look at number 12. That is the last one, right? Number 12 is strive on in bhavana. Now, bhavana, last time people would say it's meditation, but actually the better translation, bhavana, is mental cultivation or mental development. To develop the mind, to purify the mind, so that the mind is removing the mental poisons that cause you suffering. That is what is the meaning of bhavana. To train the mind, to develop and cultivate the mind through the Dhamma practice of, like, for example, morality you must have, and then meditation, and then giving dana. All these good Dhamma practices will help you to train the mind, so that now the mind is more pure already. It has less mental defilements of greed, hatred, delusion, and you find that you develop the good mental states like being calm, right? Being serene, being sturdy, not easily shaken by outside happenings. Many of the good mental states arise because you are mentally cultivating the mind to get rid of the bad things and have the good things of kindness, love, compassion coming in. Then the mind becomes strong. And when the mind becomes strong, with all the good mental qualities, as I mentioned, of metta, compassion, and then sturdiness, of vata, of the mind, everything, no ghost or no charm can harm you already. That is a real wealth, isn't it? And your mind is so peaceful. So you see, then you are really making Dhamma progress. So mental cultivation, bhavana, is very, very important. Without the mental cultivation, you cannot attain nibbana or be enlightened. So the mental cultivation is supported by two other factors of your morality and also the dana. They will support this. So to be finally liberated, to become enlightened, no more rebirth again, and you will go into the unconditioned state, the timeless state, unborn state of nibbana, where there is real perfect happiness, peace, and freedom. That is the goal. So that is the progress of the Dhamma going to the peak of, that is the final liberation of enlightenment. And in the Dhammapada, there is a very useful verse. Dhammapada actually is one of the scriptures in the Kundaka, yes, the Xiaopu. And you have a few hundreds of those Buddha's sayings, Buddha sayings. And this is from Dhammapada, verse 103. You know what is written there? Though one may conquer 1,000 times 1,000 men in battle, yet indeed he is the noblest victor who conquers himself. He's the greatest. He is able to conquer his mind, to get rid of all the terrible things, the defilements that cause him all the dukkha and suffering. What? Better than the soldier that can conquer so many men. But still, all those mental defilements, the mind, you conquer people, but then you still have the greed, you still have the anger, the jealousy, the revenge, the ego. So those things will still cause you suffering. But if you conquer yourself, which means that you practice bhavana until the mind is so very pure with the good things, then you are the greatest conqueror. You can say, the greatest victor. That means you are having victory over yourself. And it's not easy to conquer yourself. And you are, and those who try to meditate, you can realize this also. Now, let us now go to the end slide already. Which is the end already, the end slide. And we can sum up some important things. So now actually we have covered all the slides already because I went back to the missed ones. Now, look at this slide, right? Of course, this is just a background. It's a Buddhist background slide, right? So I got the wallpaper, Buddhist background. And this, of course, shows the final goal of enlightenment, right? So Dhamma progress, progressing on and on until you reach the peak, the peak of the path, or the goal is actually Nibbana. And this is shown by the Buddha's enlightenment. So important thing, there are 3 points here, or rather 2 points, but the third one is related to the second one. Firstly, we must make sure our Dhamma practice never ever decline. Decline means backsliding, going backwards. Until finally no more already. That means you are not in the Dhamma anymore. Then you don't practice anymore already. Some may join other religions, and some may say, I have no more religion. They just enjoy themselves as much as possible. So this is the type of persons, as mentioned in the sutta. I mentioned to you the 4 classes of people. So if these people are going this direction, they can either be the first type of darkness to darkness. That means they're really very bad, and then now they're still very, very bad. Or probably this one refer to the second type. They have the light at first, they are in the Dhamma, but then after that, they go towards all the bad things. That means they go to darkness, right? So if you want to really progress, make sure that you move into the light. If you are already you were in the dark last time, but now you go into the light, and you were already in the light, make sure you continue to go into the light. That is the idea. So you make this aspiration that your Dhamma practice will never ever decline, go backwards until no more. There will be a real waste of the human life. And then the second point, which actually is the most important thing actually, in a way. The most important thing actually is to walk the Noble Eightfold Path. When we walk the Noble Eightfold Path with passion, ardently, and diligently, mindfully, that is the best thing already. So I have given also maybe, one or two presentations of Noble Eightfold Path also, right? I'm not doing this in this presentation. So all throughout your life, you are in light if you are always following the Noble Eightfold Path of Sila, Samadhi, Panya, morality, concentration, and developing your mind for wisdom. Then you are always in the light and you are living in the right way and you are heading towards enlightenment. Or if not one-shot enlightenment, you will be having good rebirths as very fortunate human beings or as gods in the heavens. So you must have this aspiration to walk the Noble Eightfold Path all through time. It may be many lives, but if you start off well like this, you continue in the next lives, future lives again, until you get the final goal where you don't get reborn anymore. And that is the final goal of getting the real truth. And the real truth is when you become enlightened, right? And I'm not going into details of the stage. You reach one stage, they call it the first stage of sainthood, the Sotapanna. You reach the first stage, then according to the Buddha's teaching, you will only at most be reborn 7 times only. You will never be reborn into the suffering state. You won't go to hell already. You won't go to the animal realm. That means you won't be reborn as an animal and you won't be reborn as a ghost. When you reach that stage, and you can only be reborn as a fortunate human being or a god in the heavens until you get enlightenment. At most 7 lives only, all good lives. So you find there is a target for you, right? So that's how you can make the aspiration and work towards it. So I've explained all those things in this very important presentation title, right? Towards progress in Dhamma practice. Or you can also say to avoid going backwards in Dhamma practice. So before we say sadhu 3 times, I would like to take this opportunity to thank all of you, young and old, youth members or uncles, aunties, middle-aged, all people, this is for all who can follow. Those who don't follow English will just have to read the Chinese Chinese captions or text in the PowerPoint. And so, to all who have been following this for more than an hour already, I would like to thank you and say sadhu for putting in a good effort and spending the time on this presentation with good attention. So let us now say sadhu 3 times. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. May you all be well, happy, peaceful, and may you continue always to practice the Dhamma diligently, right? Take care.